Welcome to I Could Never, a show all about non-monogamy and the many ways it can look. I'm Genevieve from Chill Polyamory on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I'm joined as always by my co-host and partner, Ishik.
Yeah, I'm Ishik, and I'm, as always, grappling with my crippling caffeine addiction.
Yeah.
Through abstinence.
Grappling is one way to put it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm right there with you, baby. We're going down together.
Well, at least we're not alone in our grappling with the hardships of life. Oh, God.
You want to redo it?
No, we're going with it because we're also joined today by Lauren Lupsher. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here.
For all of our listeners and viewers, they are an actor, intimacy coordinator, and all-around ballroom baddie coming to us from Cape Town, South Africa. So we're super happy to have you. We're super excited to speak with you more about non-monogamy and the many ways it can look. But before we can do that, we need to get down into a bare-knuckle boxing ring with the bear that we've chosen over a man that is Vibrant.
It's Vibrant time.
Apparently Vibrant is...
He's questioning all of his choices
every
today.
choice today is just not the thing.
For anybody who is new here, we like to start every episode with a little icebreaker that we call Vibe or Vent, where we each take a beat and we go around and say something that we're either happy about, that we're vibing about this week, or something that we're pissed about that we need to vent and get off our chest. So...
I'm going to start today.
You're going to start today?
Yeah,
Go for
I beat you to it.
Go for it, baby.
So I am mostly vibing. I'm going to do what I've now decided to coin a sour vibe.
Sour vibe.
A sour vibe. So I'm vibing. I am going on a trip tomorrow. I'm leaving for the United States tomorrow. We live in Berlin. I'm sure most listeners and viewers know that. But yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going for my friend's wedding. That's the vibe, right? I'm going to get to see an old friend, celebrate this fun occasion, and spend time with family, see my niece and nephew who are, growing up super fast, and I don't get nearly enough time with them being an ocean away. And that's the good part. It's just good. I'm happy to see them. I want to spend time with them. The sour part is this is probably going to be the last time I go to the United States. Mm-hmm. And that's heavy. It's heavy. So that's just kind of in the back of my mind. I don't really feel the need to dwell in it too much or really get into it much. It's just increasingly not safe. And so I'm not, So that's also kind of eating away at the edges of the vibe of it all because it's hard to just be happy about it. But I am, I'm contented and determined to be happy about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
A little double dipping. I apologize, but
Anything
whatever. I made up the fucking game. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, I'd love to toss over to you. Are you vibing or are you venting today?
I am always a double dipper. I'm always either a little bit sour in my vibe or constantly venting. I think it's a sour vibe as well. I'm vibing and really excited and filled with emotion around the flotilla and the amount of just organizing that's been happening to break the siege and go into Gaza and deliver all goods that's needed at the moment, from food to medical supply to just support that hasn't been able to get in. And I'm just overwhelmed by the worldwide just call to action. Yeah, it's just given me a kind of a new love for us as humans because we are so just vile. And I'm constantly venting about us, but that amount of people are getting together for a cause and are willing to risk their lives and how much hope that is spreading around the world and especially within Palestine. And so I have to vibe with it. Yeah.
It's all of the feelings all at once, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, am I vibing or am I venting today? Do I have a sour vibe? Should I
go all sour vibes?
All sour
I like how
vibes.
I've
We're going to ferment our vibes.
In the beginning of this. I like how I coined this idea of sour vibe, and now it's just
Come on, influencer.
Yeah. Well, I generally God, there's so much to vent about. But I have been small scale vibing at your trip as well, because
You're getting rid of me?
I have the place to myself. For context, I travel often for work or to see friends or partners, or, I'm lucky to have that ability. And usually you're the one holding down the house, taking care of the pups, and I'm grateful to you for that. And now roles are reversed. We did a little switcheroo, and now I've got about a week and a half of the place to myself. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to that alone time because we've lived together for 10 years, and I used to like living solo. I still love living with you as a roommate. You're a good roommate, but
I am.
It's nice to have your own space and your own time. And then I go on a trip immediately when you get back to go see my other partner. But hanging on to the nice moments and the good relationships. It helps. It helps when looking out at the rest of the world right now. So that's where I'm at, but I would love to get to know you a little bit better, Lauren. We usually start off every episode talking about people's current lives and your non-monogamy, the people who are close to you at the moment. So, what does that look like for you at the moment?
How not to divulge or to divulge. I'm coming out of one of my relationships, and with like very little communication happening from the other partner. I've been like so down and depro about it, and just been like, oh my gosh, it's so much to ask for communication. But at the moment I have an anchor partner that I live with, and that I definitely have like so much privilege around having a steady partner. And we've been together for 5 years, and our polyamory has like really grown so much and become so supportive, and really is just my way of like coping in the world is definitely through having this anchor partner. And then I have lovers, flomrates, which is like friends that are lovers and comrades.
I love that.
And people that like ebb and flow out of my life. And those are about 2 people that, that I will always and forever have connections to, and we are a great support system and support structure, and now more than ever they are like a broader sense of family and community, and keep me alive and keep me sane, even though I'm going through what I would call a breakup. There's a thing, I don't know if you have it there, but we have it in our queer circles here, where we don't name a relationship. So I don't ask you to be my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my partner. And then we're just kind of seeing each other for a year, 6 months, 8 months. And then things fizzle out, and either people don't talk about it. And then there's one partner or multiple partners that are saying, oh, that's my ex. And the other side saying, oh no, we hooked up. And I'm always like, at what point are you my ex? At what point are we breaking up? Or at what point is this just fizzling out? So I don't know. But that's kind of where I am right now, clearly in the fields.
Flomrads kind of covers it. No? I love that term. I want to use it now.
Flomrads.
Yeah.
Is that ever a conversation you have with people that you're close to, of just like, should we name this, or this is confusing, or not really?
I think now, yes. Before I was just kind of going with everything. But I think now, yes, I do, I do say it and say, what exactly is this? It's been, 3 months or 6 months. And do we want to sort of like climb any sort of relationship ladder or not, or deliberately not do that and just kind of stay somewhat partners? So I do bring it up where I feel like I can. Sometimes I just feel like, oh no, oh God, I would die asking you like what exactly this is right now.
Flomrads.
Yeah.
You were saying kind of like before you wouldn't have, and now you would. Can you tell us more about this before time that you're referencing? Like, is that before polyamory, or just like earlier in exploring non-monogamy, or Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let me not lie, I'm messy. And for anyone that's listening, if you're messy, like, great, we're in company. I don't have the answers. And as soon as I think I have the answers, then things change. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm now dealing with like jealousy all over again in a way that I thought I had to overcome. But I was in a mostly monogamous relationship for like 14 years, a high school relationship that into adulthood. And I then tried to figure out how I could explore sexually and within my sexuality within that relationship, and it wasn't working. So I was then at the end of the relationship quite loudly cheating and being like not ethical about it at all. And then that relationship ended, and I decided, okay, whatever relationship I go into, I will be polyamorous. And that is the kind of the way that I want to work. And that's kind of the only way that I could see just loving in the way that I think is like politically, ethically, community, just like naturally comes to me, whatever non-monogamous way that will look like each relationship. And that was 2018 that I had that like breakup and was on my own for a bit. And then in 2020, I started dating my current partner, and we were best friends. We had been best friends for 10 years. I came out as queer just at the start of COVID, terrible mistake. And to my family, I had been like quite queer, but just out to my family. And he had not long before that come out as trans. And so we quickly got into like these bubbles of support with each other, and then fell in love as best friends, as queers do. And we said both upfront, we had both come out of monogamous long relationships, that we want to practice polyamory and practice non-monogamy and listen to podcasts and have conversations with people and try and figure out what that looks like. And so in the beginning, it was a mess. I mean, it still is messy, but in the beginning, it was quite a mess, and it was quite a navigation of old habits. I had habits of cheating, of keeping secrets, of not communicating, of kind of allowing things, stepping out before things are become too serious, so that I don't have to navigate like it to have those tough conversations or anything. And so just escaping quite quickly. And this relationship, we had to just like call out those things and help each other and really try different ways of making new habits. And I mean, we had all the boundaries in the beginning, and all the boundaries were pushed, you know. And so we had to figure out what is a rule and what is a boundary, and what does that look like, and does a time code work for us? No. So we don't have to be home by a certain curfew or put a time limit on dates, and, you know, just go through the bumps first to figure out what it actually looks like for us. And that, yeah, I think now it's just at a much more communicative space, and a space that allows the mistakes without that we're trying to get like A grade on polyamory, and we're not going to get that. Yeah.
I think it's something I hear often from people that prior to exploring some kind of non-monogamy, they cheated or they had impulses to keep secrets or to hide. And so, yeah, I don't know if we've talked to a lot of people about that feeling. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it was like for you before, and if you had any impulses to hide or keep secrets since polyamory, since starting non-monogamy?
I obviously just, you know, like as a teenager, you're naughty and you don't know boundaries, and I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, I thought I didn't owe anyone anything at the time, and kind of just like cheated quite a bit, and then started quite a serious relationship with one of my brother's friends, as well as my mom's like childhood best friend's son. And we started dating, and we were like, cool, we set to probably get married because our moms grew up together. You're friends with my brother. We're always around each other. This feels like a family friend, an extension of family. And so we'll always be together. And in that relationship, as I got through university and got older, I was like, oh, I've really tucked quite a big part of myself away, which is my sexuality and is my exploration sexually with other people. And that's now creeping up. And how can, we bring that into this relationship? And fair that, like he was not open to that and was like, that's going to create such mess and insecurity in this relationship. And we've kind of grown up together to now do that isn't his choice. And so I left it, and it kept like niggling at me and coming to me all the time. And then eventually I was like, oh, I really want to sleep with women. I don't know what I'm going to do. and so I did. And so, like it became kind of like an unspoken thing that I was doing that I think he was aware of, until the point that I was just like, I really want to date women. And so now we're at a crossroads. And do you think we can bring that in, or I can have space for that? And we decided to, rather go separate ways. And it was a heart crushing. And like going into polyamory, when I came out of that relationship and was single for a bit, I was like, gosh, I've got all these like people that I've wanted to see, but I've also got all these bad habits. And it took quite a while to shed some of those habits, especially keeping the secrets. So when I started dating Gabe, my current anchor partner, we laugh about it now, but then I kept so many secrets. I was like, I need space, I need my own time to do my own things, but wasn't disclosing what those things were. Seeing people without saying that I'm seeing this person, and not in a way of like, we're going to have an agreement where I don't have to disclose those things. And I have my me time so that I can do my me things. And that's just for me. It was kind of I'll tell you what I think you need to know so that I don't have to face any sort of like turbulence and have to have these difficult conversations and navigate this. So I just kept those things secret. When now I am such a yapper. I don't keep secrets, and I can't lie anymore. Like I get like a little.
You have a tell?
Apparently, a little twitch. So I no longer have my poker face. I no longer have my cheating habits, and I don't keep secrets. Obviously, I keep things private that need to be private from other polyamorous relationships, and especially around sexual like activities. I keep that all private, but it's not secrets. And to know what things need to be shared has been a great lesson for me, instead of, especially because I'm also dating one of my best friends. So to not be like an oversharer, because it has now different implications and it hurts differently. And at the same time, I'll often be like, can I have a bestie moment? I just need to share this with my best friend because, wow, look at me, look who I'm dating.
So like we're hearing a little bit about some of the early hurdles where you were coming out of it and still had a lot of these old habits. And now it sounds like you've let a lot of that go. What do the hurdles look like, more recently, right? Where it's like not that very active still secrecy and hiding, but there's still like, what does the mess look like now?
There's racial dynamics, I think, that come up quite a bit. In South Africa, we have a term called colored, which is quite loaded internationally. In South Africa, it's a culture. It's kind of like what maybe would be described as like a clan or a tribe. The colored people probably laugh at this, where we're not just mixed race. We're actually a specific culture. And yes, that comes from a like wide mix of Indonesian and Malay and slave history and Khoi and indigenous and San and Kuku tribes. And so there's a mixed ancestry, and that is colored. So we have colored, we have mixed race, we have black, we have Indian. There's like an array of what people of color look like in South Africa. And I mostly date women of color. And our like community and friend group, we kind of hold that with a lot of love and a lot of tender and a lot of respect and nuance, in that we all have different cultural backgrounds and we all have different upbringings and different classes as well, and different accesses of privileges. And so we really like love on that and hold space for that and make sure that everyone is getting what they need. Versus Gabe mostly dates and sees gay men of many different races, especially if it is in South Africa, like the white gay men, they get a pass on so many things. They get access on so many things. They get privileges that they don't want to address. And so when that person that like kind of is that box steps into the relationship and into the community, we don't necessarily give as much love and as much respect. We love and hold space and are very welcoming and loving. But I find that, especially within myself and maybe my partners, that we don't hold as much space for that. And so that's been quite a hurdle that's ongoing, and I think is something for me personally to address. And it's also a trauma response to like block out men for me. And so it's complicated in the sense that like it's deep, and I want to heal my relationship with men and with masculinity and help them heal and also heal from them. I haven't fully navigated through it, I'd say, because if it's still, especially if like I can feel it unsettling me, even in this conversation, which means I haven't like fully dealt with it and navigated through it, and the feelings. But it's also, I think, interesting for me to navigate masculinity as a non-binary person and as a like fraught relationship with masculinity. And as a teenager, like I dismissed anything masculine because I had muscles and I had a really deep voice. And there were 5 Laurens in my grade and I was the manly Lauren. And now to kind of bring bits of that back into my own personal expression as a human being, and into my gender expression and also into my relationships, like, yes, I have a fraught relationship with men, but I also sleep with like a lot of gay men. And to just like check in with myself, even right now, like, am I just making like a sexual disposing of people because of their identity, or do I hold them like I hold everybody? And I do hold a lot of space for gay men, and I do love a lot of gay men, and I do have like beautiful relationships. So that for me is like, okay, that's growth. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think that makes a lot of sense, right? That like the imbalanced power dynamics and imbalanced level of privilege that are afforded to these groups, whiteness, maleness, right? Like already get a lot of that. And so it feels like, even as you're talking about it, I feel like, wait, like you shouldn't have to do this fucking work. They should have to do work, right? And like, so that comes up, but then what you're saying and is coming through is that you're not doing the work for them, you're doing the work for you. And I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that you're bringing to it, so that you are okay, and so that your relationships are positive, and so that your community is a positive place for you and everyone who's coming into it. So yeah, I just wanted to say, like, you're great.
He doesn't have a question there.
Yeah, that wasn't a question. That was just like, good.
This is me just navigating the sun that decided to do this today. Like, I'm gonna move over here. Okay, no, that's much better. I'm not chasing the sun.
Okay, cool. You started to kind of reference your own relationship with masculinity and in kind of the discussion of this kind of sticking point and an area of growth. I'd love to get kind of a sense of what is the level of reception, what is the kind of general response, and what is a little bit about the community in Cape Town, in South Africa as a whole, around non-binariness, transness, queerness. I don't know anything about what the general vibe is like. Is it tell us about it.
South Africa has an amazing constitution in the fact that everyone really feels like they have a lot of rights, and we're able to be loud and to ask for those things. But sometimes it does feel like it's just a piece of paper. It's the same way that a lot of people think that we went through apartheid, we had truth and reconciliation meetings, and everyone kind of like made it squashed and it's gone away. And And it's not, like a lot of those things are still there. We still have like urban apartheid. We have people far away from resources, still stuck in the exact same communities that were made like on barren land with nothing around, far from the city, one road in, and they have to travel about 3 hours in to come and work within the city or work within white households. And we have some of like the richest people kind of still owning majority of the land and businesses and having such like massive income. And then we have majority of the population beneath what like a daily wage is supposed to be. And then there's also just like a lack of access, I think globally, around healthcare and around trans healthcare and access to gender affirming healthcare. So on top of that, we also have a really conservative culture and nation where religion rules most households. And I bring that up because, yes, we like constitutionally are protected as queer people, and political parties that are way more queer friendly and include queers and in legislation and in the politics. And then we've got people that are just completely outrightly homophobic, transphobic, and there's no consequence to it. Gabe and I, unfortunately, I think maybe 2 years ago, we got a lot of hate online, led by one person that kind of just brought an entire following of transphobia and homophobia. And it was all online, and we went to court, and eventually, even though Gabe's was worse than mine because it was so much transphobia and using his image and his pictures and his handle and his face, there was no repercussions for it, So yes, we have this constitution, but High Court, they didn't even look at it. And so we have a lot of spaces that deliberately defy that, and make community and make safe spaces. Like it's where all of us queers are, and how we end up all dating the same people, I guess, because we go to the same spaces that have now been built as resistance to that. We've got, it's called the Pink Party, which is like a lesbian space majority, and it's been run for over 10 years. We have the ballroom scene, which is like, it's how we do pageants, it's how we perform, it's how we dance, it's how we use our body as resistance, and how we build community.
Yeah, just for listeners and viewers who aren't familiar with what ballroom is, can you explain it to them? How would you describe what ballroom is?
Or tell us what yours is like.
And tell us about yours.
Yeah. I'll tell you what ours is like. It's funny, like coming from a South African to like, I don't know, teach ballroom. I might be called out. But, ballroom I won't give like the whole history, but it started in Harlem and in New York and downtown, like underground, not downtown. And this pushback against racist pageants and transphobic pageants, not including black trans women and black women. And so the space was made in defiance. Yes, it's a party, but it's also a protest, and it's also a performance space, and it's also a learning space. We have quite a few houses and quite a few performances, and we have a special category, which is the African performance category, which is strictly ours. We've got like Amapiano beats or Afro house beats, and people dancing and performing to that music, in a category that has a focus just on African performance and how we move our bodies and how we perform, and around race and culture. And it's so diverse in everyone performing that. It just felt like a good space of like bringing everything together for me as a performer and as somebody that kind of holds community. And then I get to be like silly and make a mess and be sexy and be raucous and messy on a stage and perform with other bodies and such diverse bodies. And we get to just like show up as us, and nobody gets to tell us, that you need to look and fit in a certain bracket or what it has to look like. And sometimes it's performing hyper femininity or performing hyper masculinity and like making a joke out of it. Yeah.
Are these kind of spaces where you usually find your connections, your relationships too?
Sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of crossover because I say Cape Town is small, and not that much at the moment. Like I wish. I do like absolutely crumble and fumble when I'm approached by new people that I don't know, in a romantic way at the ballroom scene. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, like, why did you just watch me on the stage? Because I can't take back my performance. So how do I act cool? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like exes in the space. I always say that. And I hope that they're clapping for me while they're watching me. I don't have bad relationships with exes. I do try like not go back, but I don't have bad relationships, so I'm sure they're clapping. I love it when I see people at the ballroom scene with multiple partners. We have quite a few like relationships and people that come within from the polyamorous scene or from, that are trying and practicing non-monogamy, and you can see it and it's beautiful to see. And I've tried it a few times. I've also gone to some balls and been like, cool, this ball I'm single in the way that I'm not attached to any other partner. This is for me for a solo night. And my other partners are there, but I can, do what I want to do, to allow yourself to play and find new people and maybe have conversations without having to check in. So I like it when they are like deliberate solo activities, even if it is a shared space.
It's something I hear a lot where people in a smaller community can't avoid your exes. Maybe it sounds like you don't want to avoid your exes. You have good relationships with people. But I hear people ask, like, how do I do that? How do I go and be where my exes are, or my partner's partners, my partner's exes? Like, how have you sort of navigated that to where it still feels friendly, it still feels relaxed for you?
And are like, and kind of to bring that into a more specific, like, was there a time that it was like really easy and went really well and you were like, oh wow, I felt really good about this, and then maybe a time that it was like a little messy?
He wants the mess.
I want the mess, but I also want to acknowledge the good stuff too.
I also want the mess. I mean, okay, I'll be real. At the moment, I feel like I've just maybe gotten over the hurdle of an ex being in the same space as me. And so I'm lucky that she doesn't come to the ballroom scene that much, but every other space she is in. And so there is no escaping. And my friends will always be like, to the left, 3:00. Like, leave me alone. I know. It's okay. And I think, that ex, we had a beautiful relationship and quite a tough breakup. And so seeing each other in like social settings was tough, like immediately afterwards. And she is such a lover, like, oh my gosh, she cannot be single. And so very quickly she had like another partner, and I was trying to figure out, is this a partner? Are they hooking up? Are they not hooking up? Why am I so interested? Why am I watching you all night? When I told myself I don't care. That was tough. Also, at what point do I come over to you and greet you and say like, hi, I'm here and I hope things are okay? Or am I stubborn and being like, I've done that the last 3 times. You have to come over to me and also say hello to me. And so I was navigating that for a while, as well as like trying to pick up who she's hooking up with. And then I was like, oh gosh, this is taking up so much of my capacity at this event. And I mean, it's messy in the sense that as soon as we start dating other people, everyone is kind of reporting back on it. It feels like there's eyes. And I don't know if that's just because it's the queer scene or because a lot of us work in the film industry. And so everyone seems to know our business across our public space and our party space and our social space, as well as our industry space. And I try to keep my private life very private from industry. But then I forget that everyone follows me on Instagram. I'm like, oh, you saw I was in Morocco with a new girlfriend. Oh my gosh, shit. And that girlfriend is in the film industry, so now you know my business. But yeah, I mean, it's messy in the way that I'm really good with my partner's exes. Like, I can be really friendly unless somebody is rude. And I'm very protective. So, I mean, I'm not going to shush. And not everyone has to be your buddy. Like, I've navigated with an ex and her ex, and that ex wasn't like very warm and welcoming to me and wasn't a buddy and didn't like the fact that I was polyamorous. And the shade that came around being polyamorous and that you're never going to have enough of this person and that there's no space for you in that relationship, and kind of like waiting for it to end to kind of prove a point. And so that type of person being around me, I'm just like, I mean, I don't know why you're hating on me, but I'm not going to give it any time or any energy. Like, we can see each other. I can say hi. I always go up and like give highs and hugs if they're welcomed. But I don't have to go beyond that. And those people know, because most of the time I'm like very friendly. We kind of move through it, I think, mostly smoothly. There isn't too much drama.
I mean, I think at the end of the day too, it's like, folks, that's community right there, right? Like, like you don't maybe like how somebody is. If they're not actually like dangerous or really like bad, you just kind of fucking deal with it. Like, it's like, I didn't like, you're throwing a little bit of shade my way. That sucks. I'm still going to go say hi, and we can be cordial and not throw each other away. And I would guess, based on what you're saying and how you're kind of describing the general like environment in Cape Town and South Africa as a whole, that if that ex of your ex who throws shade because of polyamory, if they fucking needed something, my guess would be that you would still be there for them, right?
Yes, in the broader sense of like community, I would show up for anybody, and I've done that. I've had like random people phone me for random things, and I've just gone and helped, and just know that whether it's like from a mental health thing or like a career thing, or somebody just needing an extra hand, or like, I'm not going to say no if I'm in the position to like help. And that for me, yes, is community. And then I've got like an inner circle of community, which is more family, like queer family. And it is made up of like long-term lovers, where we fluctuate between being friends, being lovers, being just comrades, helping each other organize. And that inner circle, I would do anything for. And there's no beef and there's no tiffs. And we literally love each other so hard, maybe too hard. And we hype each other and really support each other, and often check in like what you need. Sometimes those people are, dating people that you don't want to extend that level of family to, but you naturally do, just because they've now stepped closer to that family circle. And in this inner circle of like inner family is a lot of activists that really organize grassroots activism, of organizing protest, of going into the Cape Flats and organizing with workers, farm workers, in like young activists, and helping them organize, in shutting down venues and shutting down events, or just going to go like do protest and art, like pieces. We just organize with each other in a way that we have to constantly check, are you safe? Are you okay? Are you burnt out? Are you overloaded? And like, what do you need? And that for me like speaks to polyamory, that like, or any sort of non-monogamy. And I know in most of the people, they either fluctuate between being non-monogamous, practicing being non-monogamous, or taking a break from non-monogamy and kind of like focusing on a solo partner for a bit. I'd like, it just makes sense that we are all like ethically non-monogamous within this group. And I don't think there's anyone in like my tight circle that isn't somewhat open, or having those conversations in their relationships, or like politically they care in a way that fits in with polyamory.
So with pretty much everyone in that more tight-knit circle being either like having some experience with some form of non-monogamy, has there also been a lot of fluidity in terms of like your own connections with some of them, and around, the way in which that expresses itself, including maybe sexual or romantic elements?
I started this by saying I'm messy. I have fucked way too many of my friends. and I need to stop. Like, you know.
You brought up, you know, still sometimes in certain circumstances struggling with feelings of jealousy and stuff like that. And so I wanted to ask more about that, like what the circumstances were bringing up feelings of jealousy. And with so much fluidity, with people coming in and out of levels of non-monogamy, if there was any jealousy that came up within kind of the broader, or like that like tight-knit family.
I mean, I don't want it to sound like this is just like a circle of like, we just like fuck each other and all love each other and stuff. I mean,
that sounds like a great circle of people. I don't know.
It's not a bad thing.
Sounds amazing. But it isn't that. It's just like friends that kind of fluctuate between like multiple levels of like what we are, who we are, how we're connected. But I've slept with multiple friends, and to navigate how do we keep that friendship for all of us still going, and how it doesn't change for somebody else. And I've slept with friends with Gabe and navigated that the friendship doesn't change afterwards. You know, I have to work against the taught ideas of being possessive and expecting somebody to be possessive of me. What's come up for me, like most recently, and circling that jealousy, is the crossover with friends, when it is like my friend, and how do I hold that as like it's my friendship, but now it's changed in a dynamic with you.
This is a friend that's started dating Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dating loosely, you know. I make fun of it. I say that I'm not polyamorous, I'm jellyamorous, because I'm so jealous at the moment.
Aww.
Like, I'm so jelly. Like, it's just like unnecessary. And it's new to me. The jealousy is just like at the front. And I'm just like, okay, what is it? Is it that I want that same amount of time with that friend? Is it that I also want to have more sex with that friend? Is it that I want to have dates and one-on-one time with that friend? Is it that I think that friend is now closer to you? How do I get excited for this? How do I have compersion and like good feelings and want this for you? And show you that like this is a safe space. You can come and share with me, and you can be excited, and you can be like, I get that you're jealous, but I'm excited to go on this date, and this is what we're doing, and this is what it's going to look like. And for me not to just be like a dark cloud or downer or trying to suppress jealousy. And so, you know, in communicating about it and just having to discuss it and having to share, like, this is what's coming up and this is why it's coming up, it has circulated back to like, I just don't want to lose my friend, and lose our relationship that we have. I think it's about like maybe communicating that I also want those things, and because I also want those things, or I haven't said that, that it creates jealousy or insecurity. And in that insecurity, I'm going like, and then what about me? But yeah, I mean, it looks different all the time. My jealousy with this person that I'm not seeing anymore, is different in the sense that somebody came into the relationship after me and got things that I didn't dare to ask for and didn't think I could ask for within their polyamory. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't say those things. But I want those things. And maybe it's because I didn't say like, hey, I also want a relationship like that, or also want to do those activities, or also want one-on-one time like that. That now I'm just sitting watching somebody else get it and I'm jealous. Communicating those feelings to each other is so important in that. And so I think I've had to let go of this most recent relationship because I can't communicate it. I can't say it, and this person isn't great at communication. So it would just get worse. I would just get more hurt. I think get more jealous. And so I've had to like, you know, step away from that.
I mean, I think you're really hitting all of the things, right? It's like being honest about the feeling and communicating it, right? Like kind of defanging it and taking it out of that like swirling vortex of the head and just being like, this is what is happening for me. And then also like seeing it as an indicator of something that maybe you want or you need from a relationship. I think, you know, as much as it's, I'm sure, really tough to be going through it, especially with it coming up in ways that were unexpected, I'm certain that people can and will get a lot from you identifying the solution in real time, you know, as it's coming up. I think that's going to be really helpful for a lot of people to be like, oh yeah, that's what I can do too, because that's so real.
It's such a mirror. It's such a mirror of just like, oh, okay, I've learned something about myself. Yeah.
When dating polyamorous people, sometimes I made the assumption, especially within this dynamic, that we have the same type of polyamory, and that we all communicate similarly. And we don't. We don't have the same type of polyamory. And this person is very, very private. And so there's a push of what's private and what needs to be communicated and what is just kind. In the beginning, we said what we wanted, and we discussed that like things would ebb and flow naturally. We get really busy. We also in the film industry. Oh my gosh, how do I date everyone in the film industry? So maybe I should change careers. And we discussed like things would naturally ebb and flow. She'll be too busy or I'll be too busy, and that's okay. Or she'll go away with it, one partner, or go and visit the other partner, or, you know, like there'll be that ebb and flow. I just thought there would be communication around that. And so there's been no like preempting, okay, you're going to go away with this person. This is what I need. I can steady my heart. This is the type of stuff I would need and want so that I can just be excited for you and I can hold that for you. So I've just like learned that really the hard way of being kind of on the other side. You know, when dating my last relationship with a monogamous person, she told me how she was worried, and so were other people, that there's no space for her. And that there'll be like a lack and a want and a need that's not being met, and kind of feeling left out. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, you know how big my heart is. There's so much space and there's so much love. And now being on the other side of it and seeing somebody that's polyamorous live with somebody, also have other partners, and really feel like there's no space for me, and watch other partners come in after me and me just being kind of kicked out. And I was like, oh my God, my poor little heart. I've just felt like left out, and I've been like, oh, okay, so is this what other partners have brought up to me? And I've been like, no, there's space for you but in the practicing, there's a leaving out. I find I'm a lot more communicative, but it did bring a mirror to me to go like, you know, do you do this in your polyamory? Do you deliberately carve out space to make sure that the person knows, yes, I live with Gabe and this is my anchor, but this is how there is space for you, and showing that and showing up like to actually do that. I've gotten burnt on the other side and I feel burnt at the moment, but it's really helped. I think it's helping me grow, because I'm like, okay, I know what this, like, if I've ever done this to somebody, I know what this feels like.
I think that's something I relate to with like having a lot of different relationships. Then you have all of these different points of view of like being on different sides of situations. I've grown so much from just having multiple partners and being in different positions. So it's cool to hear, even in real time in our chat, like the sort of self-introspection and self-reflection and stuff that you're constantly doing. And I can see like, yeah, it's how it works for you. That's very cool.
I want to actually second that. I think
it's cool to watch.
It's been, you know, even as you're like, oh, I'm so messy and all this stuff, like you're so immediately chewing on all of the things and really like, oh yeah, I'm realizing that this feeling is coming up for me as we're talking about it. And like, that's so amazing.
It's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm very lucky that I have people that I can like run to and be like, oh my God, I can't. I'm mad. Let me just be mad and vent and say all the things so that I can then go and be like, okay, cool. I have a plan. My plan is to say that I'm jealous. And this is why.
Yeah. Zen is never the first step.
Yeah.
We got to vent. We got to get it out.
No, it's great. It's great to actually have this chat. It's like you said, it is very self-reflective. Like while you talk, you obviously learn. And then while you unwrap something, you're like, oh, okay, that's still there, you know? Mm-hmm. So this has been really great.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us today. It was awesome to get to know you better. And I'd love to invite you to share any projects that you're working on, or if anyone wants to follow you, where can they find you online?
It's been so beautiful to have this conversation with you both. I feel like it's been a warm hug and maybe a therapy session. So it's great. You can follow me online at Lauren_Loubser, LOREN_LOUBSER, on Instagram. And you can always DM me if you need help or information, or I don't know. When you come to Cape Town and you want to know things, people often ask me about the scene here. And yeah, like I'm always open to collaborate. I'm a performer and an actor as well as an intimacy coordinator and director. And I love working in collaboration and in community. And so reach out. Yeah. And I've got a podcast that's about sex and educating around sex, and it's called Open Wide Say Ah. And it's a bit old, but it's a great oversharing session with me about sex.
Well, that's great for our audience. They love the juicy gossip. So
go get the sexy juicy gossip.
Yeah.
Well, definitely go check out Lauren's podcast. Go check out Lauren's page, and hire them.
Just an ad.
Just a general, just blanket, hire them for things. Also, if you're looking for more polyamory content, Genevieve, as always, is on TikTok and Instagram at Chill Polyamory, where she's doling out advice and takes and all that great shit. And if you're looking for more long form content, she's also on YouTube, also at Chill Polyamory, where she's talking about non-monogamous representations in film and TV.
So you can support those projects and this podcast directly on patreon.com/chillpolyamory. That's also where I have 7 years worth of resources. I've been posting every week for 7 years now. I get to update it to 7, not 6. If you want more like polyamory resources as well, I do live chats, have pen pals, so lots of different ways to be in touch. That's patreon.com/chillpolyamory.
Well, thank you again so much, Lauren, for joining us today. And for all of our listeners and viewers, this has been I Could Never. And remember that just because you've never done something before doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Bye.
Bye.